It's time for the End of Conversation podcast with funny man Damien Lemon and the voice of your choice, Ali Muhammad.
1 2 1 2. This is Damien Lemon.
This is Ali Muhammad.
This is In the Conversation.
The podcast.
Yeah.
Aha.
We back.
Word up.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. How you been, man?
Man, shit, feeling good, man. You know, holiday weekend.
Yeah.
So, you know, everybody's around. It's festive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, been good.
How's your holiday?
I was dope, man. It was 4th of July situation. What did we do? We went to, we kicked it off watching the Stranger Things. We'll talk about that. Not in detail, but we'll talk about it. But we ended it at Fort Greene Park. Okay. So, you know, group of families got together at Fort Greene Park.
Blankets and all that?
Blankets, you know, everybody bring a dish, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It's spearheaded by Stanley Lumax, and you know what I'm saying? My man Mosito, his family was out there. So, you know, it was a good old Brooklyn time, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that was cool, you know, black folks in the park, but, you know what I'm saying? It was actually very diverse folks in the park. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
Even this specific group was very diverse.
It sounds like it. What was your dish?
My dish, I got the invite late, so I had to go with the Stop and Shop fried chicken and the fried fish and the Hawaiian bread and some beer and you know, a bunch of like flavored sparkling Perrier type water type shit.
Right. Stop and Shop.
It's the same as Pathmark.
I was about to say, is it chicken? Is the same fryer?
Yeah, it's the same everything.
Really?
It's probably the same cook. It's the same recipe.
Okay.
They ain't changed that.
Because there's a Stop and Shop where it used to be a Pathmark uptown, so maybe I might have to go see about it.
Yeah, check it out, because in this one, it's the same. It never really changed. Like, even in the switch over from Pathmark to Stop and Shop, I don't remember it closing. I just remember them taking shit down in the middle of people shopping and then start putting shit back up. Like, it wasn't the Stop and Shop. Oh,
you mean taking, like, signage?
Yeah, taking signage, like, still putting signage up and shit while you shopping.
Kept that lease.
Yeah, it wasn't like they wasted no motherfucking time. It was very seamless.
They didn't even change the fish grease.
However they did, they made it seamless.
Their fish is good, too?
I mean, it was just something, you know what I'm saying? I'm already outlaw as hell bringing fried chicken, you know what I'm saying? Because I know this particular group is pretty, you know what I'm saying? They do African chop house, and you know what I'm saying? So the food is usually, you know what I'm saying, healthy and hearty. And, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's new age, you know what I'm saying?
Coming with the HDLs.
So I'm coming with
the what is the HDLs or the LDLs? One of them DLs.
I don't know what the DLs is.
The fucking, that's the cholesterol. One of them is terrible.
Yeah, all that, whatever. I'm coming with the standard, you know what I'm saying, post, you know what I'm saying, Southern movement. Right. But, you know, shit, nobody.
You represented the black part of it.
Nobody missed the beat. Nobody ever misses a beat. It's just like you go to something fancy, and I'm like, my wife was like, yo, what we bring in? Then she'll make something fancy. And I'm like, man, we should just bring some chicken just in case, you know what I'm saying? Just, you know what I mean? Just to have a staple. A favorite, somebody's favorite.
Yeah, some real shit.
And then, you know, I go to Popeyes and get a box. And she was like, this is so ghetto. And as soon as you drop that shit on the table,
love that chicken
disperse. So it's that favorite nobody don't want to claim.
That's crazy.
It's like, you know, bringing Pampers to the baby shower.
It's just so typical. It's such a staple that it don't have that glisten on it.
Nah, it doesn't.
But it does exactly what it needs to do.
It's not for glisten. It's for okay. Somebody take that burn off right quick, you know.
It's funny. I just watched this BuzzFeed video where mothers were tasting other mothers' fried chicken and macaroni and cheese and judging it. You know what I mean? It was funny because they was talking all types of shit. What kind of shit is this? Oh, hell no. There was this one lady who was talking the most shit, and her chicken was the most trash. When her chicken plate finally came around, they was like, yo, what the fuck? She did some old cornmeal type of, it looked terrible. It was deserving because she was slandering people.
Doing the most.
Yeah.
That's what's up. What y'all do?
We chilled out. We kept it low key, cooked a little something, hit a pot. You know what I'm saying? Real low, chill. Watched, finished up Chernobyl.
Oh, word.
We did that. We finished up some Chernobyl.
How many episodes did y'all have to do to finish?
Hey, 3, 4,
wow.
something like that. Like we paced them out. I don't know how many. I think total is 6 or something like that. So it was,
How long are they hour boys?
like an hour piece.
Wow.
They go pretty quickly though, cause it's a good story. You know what I mean? It'll pull you in. It's same shit you know. It's corruption. It's corruption. Motherfuckers is too prideful, arrogant. You know, all of this shit that could be avoided.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, you can't. Nobody want to check their ego. Nobody want to second guess what they did. Everybody moving forward. Nobody wants to, admit any fault.
Right.
And boom, shit is disgusting.
Man, it's too late.
Oh man, it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, but I watched it. I'm cynical anyway, but I'm watching it and I'm thinking, we definitely got some shit going on over here that we don't know about.
Oh, man, shit, we got shit we know about that just, you know what I'm saying, they won't let you believe it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You think everybody crazy when they say it.
Till it's all said and done.
Till everybody keep dropping dead from first responder.
Which I don't want to see first responders dropping dead, but I do feel like, look, some of that shit you can't even control on the level that we are, just as a civilian, right? Citizen or whatever. I honestly think that they roll that shit out like a like a fucking release calendar. They like, ooh, nigga, we can't tell them about this plague until at least 2022. Because, I mean, if we hit them with this and all, this hysteria will ensue. I think a lot of that shit.
We kind of created this plague, but,
Yeah, I mean, we creating a lot of shit, but we can't claim it just yet, especially if nobody's seen it. Nobody really could put it on us.
Right.
Let's put that off to the side.
No doubt.
Let's hit them with some misdirection.
And I mean, for all intents and purposes, shit, do we really want to know about all that shit?
That's my point, yeah. Because what you going to do with that information?
Go
the
crazy.
Shit that they were saying with Chernobyl, man, nothing you could do. They hit you with the information. They say, look, man, there's graphite, there's radioactive fumes coming out of that shit. It's basically going to destroy this entire continent. It's just going to probably, even if we could somewhat salvage it, this shit will not be, you won't be able to live here for probably about 1,000 years.
Damn.
You know what I mean? It's going to go into the rivers. It's going to go into the lakes. It's going to go like this. I don't want to fuck up some of the spoilers, but like they had to do so much to somewhat contain this.
Right.
You know what I mean? That you probably don't even consider. And it made for a good show.
And that shit's still a ghost town over there.
Yeah, that place is inhabitable. It's strictly forbidden. This certain place, like Chernobyl area, you can't even go. There's like an evacuation zone. I'm not sure exactly how big it is, but that shit make me look at Russia and all of that shit sideways because it's all in the air.
I mean, but it ain't like we don't live on this same earth.
No, I know. I'm just saying.
You know what I mean? It's just like when the shit happened in Japan. And then, you start seeing the dead shit float up in California.
Yeah.
So, we share this earth. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We share this whole ecosystem. So it's not like one thing don't affect the other.
Right. But, the way that it'll be portrayed, it'll be like, the way that it's presented is you have to see that for it to okay, damn, that is from Japan coming up in California. Because the way they'll tell you, if you look at some of the media, they'll be like, well, don't worry about it because like the real information, the real nitty gritty shit that you will blow your fucking brain up, that shit is suppressed at the table. Whoa.
Right.
No, we can't tell them no shit like that.
Nah, no doubt.
We still need to sell oranges.
Yeah, and we still need to sell this sushi and whatever else.
All of
we're
that
selling.
shit.
But it's kind of like you could see it like when you watch one storm system go from this side of the world, come all the way over and hit Miami, then hit New Orleans. It'd be like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? It just tripped me out how, just even on a smaller scale, just with Katrina, right? And I was in Miami when Katrina hit Miami. And
I didn't even know Katrina hit Miami.
Katrina hit Miami first, but as a Category 1.
Okay.
So it was like MTV Awards weekend or some shit down there.
I remember that.
And it was coming.
August.
Yeah, August or whatever. It was coming through. And it hit. You know what I mean? It wasn't nothing. It was, a little lightweight, whatever. And then just to see it later in the week go across the water and hit New Orleans
right,
and turn into a whole another thing was like it tripped you out how the same weather system just travels through and hits different places, and that happens. That's what we're doing on this earth. Like these same weather systems is floating all the way through around the whole piece. So it's picking up shit and it's dropping shit off. Yeah, and that's how the shit works. Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
So
we here.
You know, some of them Chernobyl fish and shit probably went on in the water and made Chernobyl babies with other fish that wasn't affected.
I wouldn't be surprised.
You know what I'm saying?
I've been noticing there's a lot of. Have you been seeing this? A lot of plastic fish in the world. Have you seen this?
What's a plastic fish?
Like exactly what it sounds like. Plastic fish. There's a video. First time I saw it on World Star. I thought it was some bullshit. Not some bullshit, but maybe it was some isolated situation. Dude came in bargain. He came back to the fish market. You sold me plastic fish? This ain't fucking real fish. He taking the shit. He popped the eye out. Nigga, this is plastic. Look at this shit. What's going on here? Da-da-da. He's like, oh, you know, I don't. He's trying to calm it down because, I mean, he's causing a scene. Motherfucker bought plastic fish.
Right.
And the guy's like, nah, motherfucker, you sold me plastic fish. You selling plastic fish in here? So he spazzed. I think he got his paper back. That's what kind of put it on the brain, and I started to see a lot of these microplastic things going on. But then there's the trend of certain foods being made with plastics. Like this.
So how you make a plastic fish other than just making a whole fish?
I don't know.
In a 3D printer or some shit.
Dude, I don't know. All I'm telling you is it's in the world. The shit looked like a real fish until you fucked with it. You're like, oh, wait a minute. You know? So I don't know. The shit got me biting.
What the meat like?
It's probably...
I know I've heard of plastic rice. I heard of, you know what I'm saying, cardboard and different shit.
Right.
But I ain't never heard of a whole plastic fish.
Yeah. So, some more shit to worry about. You know what I mean? That's why I don't fuck with tilapia. You know, they say tilapia
made up shit.
Yeah, they say that's a little fake fish.
You ain't never heard of tilapia until about the 90s.
But that shit got so hot so fast, you know it felt bad when it was deemed terrible.
You know what I'm saying? Especially like when you from a place, that's all y'all do is eat fish and shit. You go buy your fish from the fish market.
Right.
You ain't never heard no tilapia.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I guess so.
Yellowtails, red snapper, blah, 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 bass, sea bass. Yeah, tilapia, what's that?
Yeah.
Some newfangled fish, and then when you see one whole, it's like, ooh.
I never seen it whole. I seen the fillets.
That's an ugly motherfucker.
What it look like?
It's just gray. It just look not edible. It don't look like something you want to eat. You know how some fish look colorful and shit. Like red snapper is all colorful and shit. You know, yellowtails and shit like that. But when you tilapia, it shit look ugly.
Yeah. Yeah, they said they made that shit somewhere. Tilapia sound like a fish,
That's
though.
a Chernobyl fish.
It could be something. Local Chernobyl.
You know what I'm saying? It probably came from over there. Oh shit, you've never seen this breed.
$3.99. Yeah, who knows? That shit was moving for a minute till the news came out.
They probably could farm them shits fast. They probably make babies fast, grow fast.
I just want
all fucked up.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Anyway. But yeah, so
Happy
Chernobyl. Happy 4th of July. Independence Day. Enjoy. I hope y'all enjoyed it. It's a good time. So you say you watch Stranger Things?
Oh yeah. We was on my kids, they are big fans of Stranger Things. So I didn't even know it was coming back. Like right now. So, when it was coming up, they were like, yeah, Stranger Things tonight, 12 o'clock.
They was on it.
What the fuck? They made another one? All right. So they was on it, you know what I'm saying? So basically the whole house was in their own little pockets watching Stranger Things, you know what I'm saying? So I watched it with the kids, but my daughter, she watched it with her cousin in Atlanta on the FaceTime.
In another room or in the room with y'all?
Nah, everybody, was in their own little separate pockets. Okay. And then, I watched it with Ace in his room. So, but what it was that, it's just tripped out how kids do these things, with technology now. So it's like, instead of hanging out, like, you go to your cousin's house to hang out, they put on the FaceTime and hang out.
Right.
The whole whole
day.
weekend. Shit. You know what I'm saying?
Just be on monitor.
Yeah, just be on, you there, yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm
via satellite.
You know what I mean? I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Sometimes they not even talking. Are you still on the phone? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But they just kicking it together.
But FaceTime is free, right? That's all Wi-Fi, right? Or is
FaceTime is all Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not too bad.
Yeah. So, that was interesting how they played that out. And then, you know, I jumped in. I'm still not finished yet, but, you know, it is what it is.
They say this is the best season.
Is it?
I don't know. You watched.
I can't say that. I could say, you know what I'm saying, they've added more details to like the 80s story. You know what I'm saying? Especially growing up in that era. You know what I'm saying? They added a lot of details of that specific time frame. It's not as much action as some of the other seasons, but it's definitely way more details and there's more people involved. It's a bigger, the scope of it is wider. So, but I wouldn't say it was the best. Well, I haven't seen it ended, but I don't think it was the best season.
Well, okay.
You know, I think it was more weird finding out what the fuck was going on in the first season. Then, you know what I'm saying? Now that you know the situation, you already know what it is. Now it's like you fighting that same enemy.
It's still the same story, just the third season of the same story?
It's a little, they switched it up. You know what I'm saying? It's grown in scope, but it's the same monster per se.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it's like you fighting the same enemy, but in a different way. He doing different things, you doing different things to defeat it. But it's definitely good, and it's, like I said, it's very nostalgic. You know what I'm saying? For my kids, it's like, oh shit, it's a look into another world.
Right.
For me, it's like, oh shit, that's my era.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So you seeing what they got wrong and what
right. Well, not even. I haven't seen nothing really wrong. I haven't looked at it that deep, but I'm like, oh shit, I remember that. Oh shit, that shit was like, you know, they had jazzercise in there. I was like, oh shit, I remember that was a big craze amongst the, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
The suburban women. Right. You know what I mean? So shit like that. You know what I mean? Like my middle son, he looking at it because they're his age. You know what I mean? Like when it first came on, they was in his same age group. Okay. So now I think now it's a year behind him, but it's still, you know, same general age. And so it's interesting for them at that point. It's like, these are my peers, and look at, you know what I mean? Look at, you know, 11. Like for my daughter, look at the girl killing shit. You know what I'm saying? She the hero. So, you know, it's pretty dope to watch it from all those different angles. You know, so. I enjoy it, but I enjoy it for a lot of different reasons other than just the storyline. Yeah. So we did that. That was cool. I'm gonna go finish it up and, you know, see how it turned out. See how I did that with no spoilers.
That was smooth. Motherfuckers was in here on
pins
fucking,
and needles.
Yeah, like come on, don't say no shit. Same fucking enemy.
Oh, spoiling ass.
Oh man.
Did that shit clean.
I seen I just saw the trailer for the new Wu-Tang scripted show coming to Hulu.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. It look all right. I'm a little.
They dragging it out now. They running their legacy.
They going for it. They gonna cash in. I'm not, you know, hopefully it's good. My biggest from the trailer, I'm looking at Raekwon. Like, that don't look like Raekwon at all.
I don't think the RZA look like the RZA at all either. But,
Man.
you know how that be once you get into the characters. And then, again, we close to it, but then it's they banking on the whole generation that's removed. Yeah. You know?
That's what my homie Sock said. Same thing. He said it's probably not even for us. And it it is for us, but it's definitely to introduce people similar to Stranger Things to people that didn't live it at all. So that's their entry point. So it's not like, that don't look like Ray. Right. But
yeah, they not even gonna trip on that because Ray is probably like the old man in them now. So it's like, oh, you know what I'm saying? It's somebody they can relate to. It's just the character, you know.
Yeah, we're gonna see what it is.
But you know, I love it that they, you know, that they were able to. I mean, it's enough characters to extract a lot of stories. You know what I'm saying? So it's even when it's like one person and they did a lot of shit, it's like, oh shit. Yeah. You know, it's a lot of stories that go along with a person's life. But when you got 9, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you could do seasons.
Yeah, and then you just dropped the documentary to give you the primer. You know what I'm saying? This is the outline and background. I think it could be good if they do it right.
Yeah, it should be all right. We'll see. You know what I'm saying? September coming.
So, you know, this power will be over. So you can jump straight into the woo. Looks like he got a lot of crime.
When Power come back?
I don't know. Soon. Power kind of lost some steam, you know.
I think it always lose steam, but then it pick it up by season.
Yeah, by
week 3.
Yeah, once
it
dropped, then you gonna sit through it, sit with it, check it out. But you know what I'm saying? It just went real left last season. Kind of. I'm waiting on Snowfall.
Yeah, I'm waiting on Snowfall, so I'm curious to see how they do that. And they did finish it before Singleton died too,
Right.
which is good to hear.
Right.
You know what I mean? So he kind of oversaw the whole shit.
Right.
Yeah, I'm ready for that too. That should be good. Some other shit coming back too. I forget. Something else I got on the watch list, but I can't remember right now.
Bird out.
It's been 30 years since today actually marks 30 years since Seinfeld premiered.
A word.
Yeah. I know you ain't the biggest Seinfeld head like that, but
Man, it was 30 years since Do the Right Thing.
it is 30 years since Do the Right Thing. Yeah.
Nah, I wasn't. Seinfeld. It was. Damn, Seinfeld came out 30 years ago. Yeah,
30
I
years
mean,
ago.
I felt like I had. Yeah, I was out in the world by then. It was very little TV going on. It was weird because like once you went in the house like with your parents and shit like that, or you just out in the world, it was just life shit happening. It was no real time to really sit in front of the TV except you made it when Martin came out. You made time on Thursday. You kind of made time for Arsenio at 11:30. You know what I mean? You made time for, that was Def Comedy Jam. Little shits, those type shits you made time for. But other than that, it's a whole window in pop culture time that I missed. A lot of TV, a lot of films, TV, like between like 90 and 96 is like a dark
Just
era.
a void for you.
The void of, you know what I'm saying, most pop culture stuff. Now, if it was hip hop stuff, it was black stuff, then definitely it was on it. Definitely Above the Rim and all that shit, Juice. Caught all that. But just like Seinfeld and shit like that, it just wasn't no time. I didn't make the time.
Yeah, I got introduced to Seinfeld. Like, 'cause I was a Martin head, and Seinfeld and Martin were at the same time. I want to say even the same time slot. So, coming off of Def Jam, Martin had super momentum.
Right.
Martin, especially them early seasons, was funny as shit. So, I was all in. And I remember I probably was in 11th, 12th grade, I want to say. Maybe, I don't know. But I was doing this. I was in this after-school program called Golf Works, where it was trying to take like black kids and place them at golf courses and shit. 'Cause this is when Tiger was cracking, so they was trying to get some black kids to the spot. And then when you get paid, I got paid to work at a pro shop. I think I told you about this shop. I spoke about this before.
I don't remember that.
Oh yeah, I worked at this pro shop at Never mind. It was so much polo going on in the.
Oh yeah, you did
oh
tell
my
me.
God, I think I spoke on.
Snatching the
Yeah,
polo out of that.
I don't want to say all that. I just say it was polo in the vicinity. Anyway,
Statute of limitations.
hey man. So all I know, I was doing that, and then I was also like, you were the cat cleaning the. We used to clean the driving range, get in the car, got to go through it, gather the shit. But anyway, so the guy. I don't even want to say his name, but the guy, the golf pro, shout out to the golf pro.
Right.
He had his own side shit. He was selling golf pro lessons to motherfuckers, and he was doing mailers. So he had me and these other two cats that was working there. We'd sit in there and basically stuff envelopes for like 2-3 hours. And he just had one VHS tape with damn near every Seinfeld episode on. This is binge before binge.
Right.
This is early. Remember back in the day, you couldn't really get TV shit on tape unless
you had to wait for the rerun.
Yeah, you had to wait for the rerun,
syndication,
or unless you taped it yourself.
Right.
This shit was like an official tape. There wasn't you ain't need to track it. There was no commercials. This was just show after show after show. So we just up in that bitch watching it. That's how I got put on to it.
That makes sense.
And I was like, yo, this shit funny than a motherfucker. It's a different type of funny, but it was funny as shit. And to this day, it's one of my favorite shows. I think there's a Seinfeld episode. I used to always say there's a Seinfeld episode and a Dave Chappelle sketch for almost everything that goes on in the world. Specifically a Seinfeld episode. There's some shit, just some random shit that happened. somebody tell you, be like, oh yeah, I seen an episode of Seinfeld about that or that. Just like how when you see it further along with like Curb, where it's like all these little small things that you could relate to. It was a lot of that shit going on in Seinfeld, and yeah, man, 30 years.
How you think that affected your comedy?
I don't know. I think I'm trying to think that I was hip to Seinfeld before the show. I'm sure I'd seen him. I used to watch a lot of stand-up. Seinfeld, one of the best observational comics in the game. You know what I mean? Maybe not like super duper personal with his shit, but just observational, benign little shit. He's one of the illest. So he can make the most benign shit into a fucking bit that's hilarious, like losing a sock in the dryer type shit. He'll do a whole narrative for the sock type shit, and you like, okay, he a bad motherfucker.
But like watching the show, you know what I'm saying? You know how when you watch shows, at least in that age, and that when you're young, you know what I'm saying, it seeps into your consciousness and how you see the world and how you relate to the world. Like when Martin came, you know what I'm saying, the way he told his jokes and the way he was so animated, it seeped into how we related to each other. You know what I'm saying? Yo, my motherfucker, all that shit seeped into, you know, our vernacular, into our whole little style. Like even Cosby Show and shit like that, you started to see the world a little differently and you could start to identify that shit out in the wild, you know what I'm saying, that you saw on the TV. Like for sitting watching something like Seinfeld, did that, you know, seep into your the way you move?
In different ways. Yeah, differently. Because again, like culturally, it wasn't like Seinfeld's had like a resurgence. You know what I mean? Not only the fact that it's, you know, it's in syndication, but like it's funny how like it bled into like the hip hop generation and shit like that. Because for a while I used to joke like it was either or. You was fucking with Martin, you was fucking with, you know, Seinfeld type shit. Seinfeld is, as my people would call it, dry humor, right? I guess Martin would be wet humor, you know what I'm saying? Like, but dry humor where you like, you know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't as celebrated in the culture initially amongst the black motherfuckers, you know what I mean? My people. But no, I'm just saying, no, I remember that shit. I remember being like, yo, you watch Seinfeld? What's that? And then I put motherfuckers on. Be like, yo, that shit all right. That shit kind of funny. I seen, you know. Seinfeld is more so, I'm sure there's a bunch of different things that I can think of, but I know particularly there's a bunch of catchphrases from that show that you just use today. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's steeped with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, there's a glossary of like little shit. I got hand, Jerry. You know what I mean? Like I got hand. Like there was a whole episode where George was in a relationship and he felt like he was losing the upper hand in the relationship. You know what I mean? I'm losing my hand, Jerry. Like little shit that you could just apply to anything. So that became one of those shows like amongst my squad where we would drop the little, that was one of those shows that's right with references. Where we'd say this thing and you know what I mean? That's how you identify who fuck with it. You know, as far as I'm trying to think of anything else. I don't know. I have to give it some more thought.
Really, I only ask that because I do see it in how you move and how you know what I'm saying, how you approach humor and even how like not just humor on stage but humor in real life, like when you're dealing with people. And you know what I'm saying, like even back in the day when I used to call you Barry David. You know what I'm saying? Like to know that you watch Seinfeld like that at that age, I could see how that seeped into your, you know what I'm saying? And that's just from an outside observation. Like, okay, you know what I'm saying? I could see that you were into it. Not that I know much about Seinfeld, but now that you saying that, it's like, okay, yeah, it all makes sense. How you approach, you know what I'm saying, humor in real life as opposed to humor on stage. I'm not sure if there's a one-to-one with a Seinfeld and you on stage, but in real life, you could see how those references and that whole New York life, you know what I'm saying, is in your cultural references.
I can see it, maybe. I can see it. I mean, I'm sure Scott, I mean, you said, I can see it, you know, probably. I think a lot of that shit. I think a lot of it. I could see it. I mean, in what sense? Give me something. Give me an example.
No, just again how you would do shit and be like, oh, that's Barry David right there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I can't drop the story where I invented that name. Remember that Lemon?
No, I know you're talking about.
But I ain't gonna drop that story. But it's just like, man, that's some wild shit to say, and the way you said it, so it was in dry humor. The way you said the shit that you said, and I'm like, damn, that's some old Larry David, Curb Your Enthusiasm shit right there. And it's just, I don't have no other specifics, but you know what I'm saying? It's just the way, like, you'll say some dry wit shit that fuck a whole motherfucker up. Right?
Yeah. You could say this. So you talking about the you clean up well situation?
Yeah, so we was at
Lemon.
It was at this
Shout
spot
out to
called
Lemon. This spot I used to own years ago.
It's a restaurant called Lemon. We used to do a Tuesday night at Lemon and like a little lounge. It was a bigger restaurant, but we treated it like a lounge. Had a DJ. Yeah. People came in, you know what I'm saying? Just some cool out shit on it.
Yeah, shit was popping.
Some early 6 o'clock, 6 to 10, some shit like that.
I need more of that type of shit. I'm sure there's still that type of shit going on.
That was a whole era, that old after work, 6 to 10.
I'm sure that's still going, but I think we outside that culture.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
So we in the spot, and we chilling, and this girl comes up. I don't know if she wasn't by herself. She was with somebody else.
What?
She came in. She was looking good. And, you know what I'm saying, she was really excited to see D. You know what I'm saying? And she walked up on him like, hey. And he was like, you clean up well.
I didn't say it in that tone.
It just broke her whole shit down. That shit was so crazy. I mean, you might not say it in that tone, but that's just how it felt.
Right.
How you said that shit so dry. And so it's like she was wet. She was animated. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. She was like, hey.
Right,
he was
right.
like, you clean up well. It just broke her whole shit down. Man. I was like, that's some old Larry David shit right there.
It could be.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? That was just
she
the
did
one.
Clean up well, though.
Okay. I didn't, it was like for somebody who never seen her before, she looked great.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, D got him one up in here.
Hilarious.
Boom, 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 boom.
Sometimes I don't know what to say. I'll be honest with you. That's just real life. That's real fucking life.
That's how Larry David feel. He'll get in a situation and he not gonna think about the right shit to say. He just
you know what it is? It's a combination of the two, because there is, like, I remember, like, when I first, like, admittedly, like, when I first started doing stand-up, I remember particularly when I first started doing Comedy on the Hump, right? When I was hosting or would have to host, me and Vlad, like, we would interchange one person to headline, one person to host, right? All of this shit was new to us.
Right.
You know what I mean? We were just new comics. We getting on stage, you're doing time. This was our first show that we were producing. It was a Wednesday night. It was our first show that we would host all the way through. It was our first show that we would headline. Even though it was a Wednesday night show, it was what it was. Those were the designations, right?
Right.
And it was so much, for me, so much thought. I can only speak for myself. There was so much thought in, like, all right, how am I going to tackle this? I got to host this week. Fuck. How do niggas host? So then I would go and watch, like, Def Jam.
Right.
I would watch Martin host, how he would host. You know what I mean? And, like, I didn't want to take anything from it, but I'm sure there was things that were highly influenced by Martin.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it was shit that was probably highly influenced by Seinfeld. Like, even I'm just trying to be like you. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's some Martin shit or whatever, but a lot of that, like, a lot of niggas don't know what to say in many moments, and they could go either with the typical, you know what I mean, this type of banter, or almost just, like, recognize the exact, or say some bug out weird shit.
Right.
My shit was a amalgamation of all of that. You ain't never. I didn't ever knew what the fuck I was going to say, because it's like, oh shit, we in the moment. Here's the moment, and sometimes the shit be the wrong shit to say.
Yeah, it was a moment.
I just had a moment the other day where I said the wrong shit, and I felt bad in that moment, and I felt bad in the moment, but I didn't. It wasn't horrible. It was. I felt like, damn. I felt bad in the moment, but I knew I misspoke, but I didn't know exactly how to rephrase the shit until, like, a couple minutes later, or maybe a little while later, I got back to the spot. I was like, damn, I could have handled that differently. I could have done that. You know what I mean?
Word. Yeah,
still
man, be like that, man. Everybody go through them
Yeah.
situations. You know what I'm saying? It's just where you gonna pull your, who is your reference point for?
Yeah.
for
Who's
differences.
some of your reference points? Who informed how you move through the world?
Big Daddy Kane,
Oh, Big Daddy Kane was that's
Rakim, LL originally. LL was
Really?
the first one to be like, okay,
that's who I want to be like.
yeah, because before that you had like the Grandmaster Flash and them, who totally was disco era, wearing feathers and shit, no shirts.
Right.
That was totally out of the box. Then Run DMC came, and you could relate to him, but like a leather outfit with the, you know what I'm saying, with the grown man hat was a little, you know what I'm saying, it was a little bit
Removed.
removed.
Who was that? Which one you said? Who was
Run
it?
DMC.
Right. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? When they was cool. They had the black
With
leather.
the fedora kind of
But
threw
then,
you.
But then it became like a uniform. It became like that's what they're gonna do every single
That's what
time.
they're going to work at.
Yeah, it's like they work uniform with the grown man hat. You know what I'm saying? Then LL came and he was us. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He was exactly what you wanted: sweatsuit, velour
Big ass
sweatsuit,
chain.
or leather sweatsuit, big ass chain, young, talking shit.
Bucket hat.
You know what I'm saying? Kango, Jordans.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
He had Jordans. He was a
Yeah,
Jordan
the
hat?
first album he had Jordan 1s, Breds. Yeah, on
Really?
on
I gotta
radio.
go back and look at that.
Yeah, go look on back of radio. He's standing on top of the radio with the Jordan 1s. Oh, he's standing with the radio with the Jordan 1s on.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
he was us. It was like, yeah, that's it. And he talking shit.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? Back then it was like when the new thing came, they went directly against the old thing. You know what I'm saying? It was like, this is not Michael Jackson and this is not Thriller. That's Run
Right.
DMC. And
Right.
then, you know what I'm saying, LL came and he basically saying, I'm not Run DMC, I'm me.
Right.
I'm young. And then KRS-One came and said, I'm not LL Cool J, I'm not Run DMC. You know what I'm saying? I'm the teacher, you know what I mean?
Right.
Whatever.
Right.
So everybody had their thing, but LL was the first one that broke through. And then, cause you in that age where you want ladies to love you too. You know what I'm saying? This nigga name Ladies Love Cool J. You just changed that shit. Ladies Love Cool A. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. And then, but then as he grew, he had I Need Love and shit. He helping you talk to the, you know what I'm saying? He helping you. He giving you a way to talk to the girls in a way that's not trying to decipher Prince and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because it's like, I had an uncle that was old, like 5 years older. He knew how to decipher all them love songs and walk through that whole shit, play Teddy P and be
All
on
the
phone.
innuendo.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? He knew how to decipher all that and translate it into his own little Mac game.
Right.
That shit was very grown man, like your parents had shit to me. So I didn't really know how to put on no Teddy P and be like, yeah, girl. You know what I mean? That one, it just didn't work. But when like I Need Love came, it all fit. You know what I'm saying? It was like, okay, now I got a bridge, and then I could also do the Prince shit, because then he had that whole Adore and all that shit was coming out around the same time. So, but you were able to have a bridge to that shit. It wasn't just a foreign concept of really expressing how you feel, because now you got a easier way to do it. So, LL was the first one. Then Big Daddy Kane, Rakim, and then we take it from there. But that was all presentation. And you know what I'm saying? It's like,
I'm talking about sense of humor though.
Sense of humor wise, shit, niggas in my family. niggas like I grew up my homeboy. I grew up a lot with their family. You know what I'm saying? Since like 3rd grade. And that shit they whole shit was Def Comedy Jam. As you walk in their house and they gonna crack on you, they gonna snap on you no matter what. You could be looking good, they gonna break that shit down. You looking fucked up, they gonna break that shit down. And you either had to have a comeback, you had to be able to handle yourself in a way that, you know what I'm saying, kept you some sense of self-respect without getting broke all the way the fuck down. And then so you learn to have a little wit, a little snapback, you know what I'm saying, a little slick talk. And so slick talk became, part of my rapport as far as humor is concerned.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? When you talking to chicks and they saying something and then you got a little slick little
Right.
you know what I'm saying? That was part of my whole shit. And if that shit if you didn't want comfortable with slick talking, we probably did
Wouldn't
not.
fuck with you.
Yeah, we probably
Right.
wasn't gonna get along.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if you you know what I'm saying, like the ones you had the best rapport with was girls who could really talk that shit back or start that shit, and then you're
Right.
like, oh,
Sparring partner.
oh,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I was really informed by that group of people coming in that house and just getting broke on. You know what I mean? And there's just a lot of them, and it's, you know what I'm saying? You outnumbered. It's like ain't much you could do except for jump in or keep it moving. And then I realized when you start moving through the world and ending up in different places, that shit really helps, because when you end up in a new place, that's what people are gonna do. They gonna do that anyway, even if they don't do it verbally. You know what I'm saying? They look you up, size you up. They might have their own look.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Without saying shit, but you already know what it is, so you able to jump right in it.
Right.
And then you get that thing where people are like, oh yeah, he feel like he want us.
Right.
And, you know what I'm saying? That help you get through the world.
Right.
So I was mostly informed by that. Then Martin came along, and then you're gonna put Martin in your shit. You know what I'm saying? Martin had an interesting way to deal with his lady. You know what I'm saying? Deal with relationship shit.
Right.
So at this time, I'm in college, and you really starting to really get deep into relationships and dealing with people like that. So he informed a lot of that just by the easy flowing way of how he dealt with it, and was able to show his emotions through it as well.
Right.
Like act all tough, but then really be because we act tough and really be on the inside breaking down. But that gave you a way to do that without, you know what I'm saying, feeling like you got to go see the shrink and shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
You
have
got-
somebody you seen
yeah,
do it.
have somebody break it down for you.
Because, I don't think before Martin, that in my mind, that I could really put my finger on, there was nobody that was somewhat young in a relationship
Right.
on TV. Most of the time you seen people on TV, they had kids, they had the
Right.
whole upstairs, downstairs, they had
Right.
bills.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, they were dating, they was having a good time, they still had their friends. That was similar like even with Seinfeld, like he's out there dating, like it was a different type of vibe. You know what I mean? But like particularly like with Martin, for a long time, you didn't really see like young black love on TV in that capacity for a long. I mean, there are probably little things that are come and go, but nothing that was as impactful in my mind
Right.
as Martin was until maybe 5-10 years ago. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And I can't think about what exactly. I mean, there's shows that have blips. I think Insecure is cool. It does its thing. I think
Yeah, I mean-
Survivor's Remorse is thing. But it's nothing that was like what Martin was.
Right. You had before that, I think it was before that, it might have been the same time, but you had Living Single that kind of dealt with some of the issues.
Right.
And they was young and they was dealing with some of the issues, but never like a one-on-one where you got more of the information of how the relationship went. It was always a passing thing. It was just them friends together.
Yeah, and it was from a women's perspective, too.
Yeah,
more
well,
so.
but at that time, shit, you know what I'm saying? I really found that it was a lot more information from their perspective in that regard. You know what I'm saying? So like the Essence magazine come to the crib, and you might see, you know what I'm saying, 7 things women need.
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da. You might be like, let me see
doing
what
that.
the fuck.
Yeah,
let me
everybody
see what
did
the
that,
fuck
did
you
the
talking about.
research.
You know what I'm saying? And then you be like, oh, that's how they think. But really what informed me stronger than even Martin, because Martin was still as a humorous level, was Terry McMillan.
Yeah, I can see that.
Terry McMillan books that I found at my grandma's house
Right.
really kind of like, oh shit, because Disappearing Acts, it kind of covered both points of view, how they did the chapters. It was like his chapter, then her chapter,
Right.
and what he was thinking, then what she was thinking about what he was thinking. You be like, damn, that's how motherfuckers be thinking?
Right.
Like shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then you start to really see, you know what I mean, like a more mature version of inside of a relationship that you want to go see on TV. You talking about deeper issues of like, getting your shit together. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like being with a chick and your shit ain't together and how she feel about that shit. Or, you know what I'm saying, she trying to control you or push you in the direction that she think would be best for you, but you ain't even you going along with it, but that ain't really what's best for you. You really thinking you should go this other way, but you trying to do it for the sake of relationship, which is information that, you know what I'm saying, even to this day, it still informs me in my marriage. It's like, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to stay tight on this shit because I damn sure ain't going to never want to be Franklin. You know what I'm saying? Franklin, you know what I'm saying? The main thing in that book that they didn't put in the movie was Franklin working on his Constitution. You know what I'm saying? Which was a very important concept to me at that time. You know what I'm saying? A young, freshman in college, really just exploring relationships and shit. Working on your Constitution was like, damn, nobody never really told you, you know what I'm saying, how to work on yourself. You know what I'm saying? You went through high school, all you had to do was graduate and get to college. You know what I'm saying? Nobody didn't tell you need to work on yourself. Like, what does that mean? Like, you know what I mean? What does it mean to have to work on yourself and build a Constitution for yourself? Franklin abandoned his Constitution basically because he got into the situation with a chick that was nice. He liked her. She was fine. She had a nice place. He was living in like the little homeless situation, the little YMCA. So it felt much better at her spot than his spot. But instead of staying at his spot and working through what he had to work through, he went in her life, which was already fly, and he couldn't keep it up because
he didn't really bring much to it.
Yeah, he didn't bring much to it, and his shit wasn't together. He wasn't gonna never feel right by himself because he was living in her world, and that shit was very important. You know what I'm saying? Because there's certain times in your life where you end up in a situation like that because you dating, and you definitely gonna try to date up. You gonna definitely try to get the baddest thing you can get, and you get in a situation. How you handle yourself in that? You know what I mean? How do you play the whole situation? You want to fall all the way in and be like, oh, this life is nice. I'm going to ride on out. But really, when you think about Franklin, you're like, shit, fuck that. I'm strong. This is what the fuck I'm doing. This is me. You know what I'm saying? So the whole concept of constitutions and dealing with, more mature aspects of relationships came from that Terry McMillan shit. Shout out to Terry McMillan.
Yeah, shout out to Terry.
She had an era, man. She, you know what I'm saying? She was doing some real important work out here in these streets.
She had a run. It was a mean, I'm sure, again, there's probably a run going on now by somebody we don't know. But, like, Terry, I remember there was a lot of, like, black lit going. Terry McMillan, to that point, like, I remember reading a lot of Omar Tyree because he had the Fly Girls, the joint. That shit was ill because that was, like, young. You know what I mean? But it was popping. It was kind of the era. It was a little younger than Terry McMillan.
Right.
Then, it was a bunch of that type of stuff. But anyway.
It was weird because I seen those books too. Because at that time, you'll go to a girl house and shit, how all them little shit.
That's how you do your, okay, that's what they reading?
Everybody had the goddamn Acts of Faith in the bathroom and shit. Every house you go to.
The young Ayanla mixtape.
Yeah, the Ayanla mixtape. You know what I'm saying? But after reading Terry, since I read Terry first, it was hard to read Omar Tyree or the other ones, you know what I'm saying? Because it just seemed a little more just, younger,
probably.
bump and grind, like Zane and all that shit was like real bump and grind. I didn't ever really finish none of them. Yeah. But it was just something that stuck with me about the Terry McMillan books, the two of them really, Disappearing Acts and what's the other one?
I don't know. She had a few.
Well,
Waiting to Exhale?
Waiting to Exhale. Those two. Those two was real crucial in my reading set.
That's what's up.
And the Pimp book by Iceberg Slim.
There you go.
That was the first book I ever read for fun. After high school, summer after freshman year, I found that shit in the closet at my grandma's house. Like, what the fuck is this? Pimp. That shit was like
crazy.
But the most crazy part about that book was the business concepts that he used. You know what I'm saying? Like, those shits was so tough. That's a whole episode in itself just talking about the business concepts of how the rules of the game and shit. If you stuck to these shits, you'll see success. It was like the first self-help book, but it was a criminal book. But if you took those concepts out of the context of which they were written and put them in a different context, it's like, yo, these shits are some solid-ass concepts.
You can apply it, yeah.
This is solid. Keep your emotion out this shit, man. You know what I'm saying? It's the same shit people be saying, but it's shit, he say that shit raw, you know what I mean, in a way that's like damn near feel life or death. Yeah, I gotta do this shit the right way.
Right. That shit spoke to you.
Yeah, and then we went back to college and, you know what I'm saying, put some of that shit into business use. That's how we ended up starting the first business, just fucking around with that Pimp book.
Shout out to Iceberg Slim.
Robert Beck, Iceberg Slim.
There you go. Oh, shit. Where you going to be this week?
Man, I'm going to be here in New York. You catch me on the gram at Mr. Muhammad, on at Twitter at Mr. Muhammad.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I'll be right out here doing the same thing I be doing.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be back here next time y'all listen. I'm trying to think, am I anywhere this week? If so, go to DamienLemon.com. I'm going to be updating the dates. They'll probably be popping up as we keep going. But until then, tell a friend to tell a friend.
And even an enemy.
To get in the conversation, we are out.
Of it all is to be in the conversation.